None
here.
here
Not
either.
one that I've seen, man. All the ones I have are ones I've put together. So I've not seen the Great Lakes one.
And if you're going to build one, we recommend Arrow Precision receivers. So there's that. Sorry
My
we
goodness.
couldn't help you, Gerald, but it's good to see you out there, man. I'm not familiar with your name, and we want to extend you a Laurel and hearty welcome.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've
Well,
been
it's got to be quality. It's got great in the name of it.
well. There you go.
That's what I always go by.
Garage guy got a Model 30 AS.
Nice.
You know, I need to study up on those models, and I need to do the same with the Smith and Wessons too. But I thought the 30s were pre 336.
Nope. Just generally they were a lower grade, which is the same steel, just hardwood instead of walnut. But no, they're the same gun as the 336. The pre 336 was a 36.
Right. So there we go. Learning already. So before we get into the main topic, Scotsman, do you want to give us a rundown or what's going on, or
Scotsman.
okay?
Oh, sorry. I got the fan going. I thought I heard you, but hang on. I got to turn that fan down. All right. So basically, what we got right now, guys, is I got an update video coming, and but I will tell you right now, we're almost at $3,000 in just under a week, and that is absolutely freaking phenomenal. So, to everyone out there who's already donated, just incredible. And here's the most incredible part of that. No one wants an entry for anything. That's pretty incredible right there. That just tells you the caliber of the people out there.
That is our community, sir.
Warms the cockles of your heart.
If you don't mind me asking, as an outsider coming in tonight, what are you raising money for?
We are raising money for Lakeview Outdoors' wife.
Okay.
Lakeview Outdoors' wife is extremely sick at the moment, unfortunately. Super rare disease. And just trying to help out a little bit, take a little bit of the burden off.
Mighty fine of you guys. Let me know if my channel can help you, or I can help you any way personally to further that cause. It's mighty fine of you guys.
Well,
Yeah, and they're a young couple too. I mean, they got a long life ahead of them, you know.
yeah. Actually, I did a challenge video, Chris. It's hashtag my first gun for Lakeview.
Oh yeah.
So some of the guys are making videos, and I'll challenge all you guys out there, and especially the guys on the panel to. And CW's already done his.
Here.
And I think Mark has too, haven't you, Mark?
Yep.
So, yeah, just
I'm working on mine.
tell us about your first gun. And do I need to send you pictures, Hillbilly?
Well, I'm trying to decide if I can put my first gun on YouTube or not. Because I was only about 3 or 4 years old when I discovered it.
Yeah, I thought about going that route with the first pop gun. I'll make it firearm
in the mud of a creek bed.
Yeah, you can't put a howitzer on YouTube. You know, you just can't do it.
You're too funny.
I'm waiting on a new gun to represent my old gun. My first gun is long gone, but I got a new one sitting in California jail waiting to come out first part of next week. So I'll put that video up then.
Well,
Nice.
you know,
If you watch mine, I don't have my first gun, so I just
Right.
had some pictures. Being the internet, what it is, you can find pictures pretty easy. So I
Oh, sure.
grabbed a couple of pictures, and then I extended that to my first 22 because I still owned that one, and that's what I showed in my video.
That's sort of where I'm going.
You
I'm
can
going
make
with
that
a new
work.
22 to represent the old 22,
Yeah,
but I'm
there
going
you
to
go.
get that new one first.
I've got a couple that I had years ago and sold and bought new ones to replace them. So I don't have the original one, but I liked it so much I bought a replacement. And that was my criteria for years to sell a firearm. I would never sell something that I couldn't replace.
Right.
Yeah, I got mine uploaded. I just got to put in the little details in there and then hit post. We'll get that going after the chat.
so while you're doing your video and while you're doing your talking, you can say we're doing this to draw attention to the fundraiser that the Scottish American is doing for Lakeview Outdoors and his family, and they just need to send an email.
Scotsman,
We lost somebody.
can you text me the link to that fundraiser so I can put it at the bottom of my first video or my first gun video, please?
Yep, will do.
All right. I still got my first gun. I'll explain all that in the video.
There's Lakeview right there
Oh, looky there.
in the house. Welcome, man.
Am I supposed to be able to type in the comments? I don't have that option here. But am I supposed to be able to have that
You have
I
to
do it from
on
my
the YouTube.
iPhone.
from your iPhone?
That's how I do it. Yeah.
It's a good idea. Good idea.
Yep, you have to do it.
You
on
can
YouTube.
you can open another window
Mm-hmm.
in a browser
Okay.
and open YouTube and go
Okay.
to this show, and you can then you can
Yeah. Resize it and put it over to the side and everything, and
pop out
Use
chat.
pop
You know
out.
how to
Make
do
sure
the
your
pop out
volume's off.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I can't believe you said that. I was about to say I put $20. We're about to get echoes.
So we lost Walter. No, there's Walter. Who did we lose?
Mike, we lost
Hillbilly.
Hillbilly. Yeah.
Did you guys see him shoot his swimming pool this past week?
That was
Did y'all
so
see that
funny.
video? Man, first time I saw that boy, I subscribed. Very first time, I said, I like him. You know, he's right up my alley. And he shot his
Oh, he
pool
was
the other
great.
day, and I about fell out on the floor laughing.
It was a great idea. You talk about, you know, being able to shoot pool without a cue stick. That's how you get it done.
Yeah, yeah, it was a great
See
idea,
that
wasn't
one.
it?
What happened?
It's like, well, I wish I had a pool there for a minute.
Think of all the hollow points I could test.
Oh yeah.
That's what I told him in the comments. I'm like, yeah.
I'm gonna have to go check that out. I hadn't seen
That
that
was
one.
great.
It's
He
funny.
shot with all kinds of stuff, including a 12 gauge.
Yeah,
But
and he
that
was
was
nonchalant.
the end of the road. So yeah, there's Scotsman's email if y'all feel led to, if you feel led and you're able, don't put yourself in a bind. 'Cause,
The question is, does Hillbilly still have a pool?
He's
Yes.
on a new one.
Yes.
he probably does not have that one anymore. But yeah,
Well,
I would-
if you're gonna get a new pool, you might as well make a spectacle of the old one.
I have
You know?
Right?
You got to empty it one way or another. Let's get it done that way.
If
If
you're
you
a
started
gun
out the video
All
with his,
out.
with his explanation. He had a smaller pool for the grandkids, so he was decided to take that one down. He's got a regular pool for everybody else.
The above ground type. It was a pretty sizable one at that.
Mm-hmm. Has a lot of liquid in there, you know.
Oh yeah,
A
his
lot.
his backyard was real happy about all those holes in their water and the grass.
Next time he needs to put coloring dye and chemicals, you know, that safe
Yeah.
chemicals that show colors, and you know, make a big old pool of Kool-Aid or something and pop.
I heard there was a whole line of Labrador retrievers marching around with signs of protest.
Oh, how funny.
It's Labrador, man.
There he is back.
He's back knocking at the door.
Were your ears
Ah,
burning?
man. Nah, sorry about that, guys. One of the mules got away from the little turnstile out there that you're hooked to turn around so we generate this electricity and internet.
Yeah.
Had to run out
I
there and
thought-
catch that thing
that's
and
what I
pick 'em back up. Now our lights just shut off for just a second, just power surge or something, and of course the internet router's like, oh, well, we must reboot for 5 minutes. So
Right.
Dang lazy
Sorry
internet
about that.
donkeys.
we talked about your pool most of the time you were gone. Yeah, we love the video, man. You ain't right.
Yeah, but he ain't wrong.
That's right. That's right.
No, Hasbro, there's not really. I think our Crazy Scotsman is a one and only. So there you go. I think another thing too, I would have ran out of Flex Seal trying to test all of my bullets for expansion in that pool before I shot it with that 12 gauge slug.
Oh man.
I was hoping he was going to run up there with after the 12 gauge and try and freaking put that Flex Seal on there and see what he could do.
Yeah, there's so much. That hole is so big. I was like, there's no way I'll be able to patch this thing up. But if they made next time, if I do it again, I might try to get one of those. They can make sheets of it, you know. So I might try to cut out a sheet of it and slap that on there. But oh my goodness,
Jamie, can I say something right quick?
Yes, sir.
Scotsman, I believe you changed the name of your channel to the Scottish American, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
All right, so that's the way you can find him.
Bless you, Jamie.
There are a lot of crazy Scotsmen out there, but I think the Scotsman changed it to the Scottish American. All one word. Thank you. Don't
All right, so
everybody talk at once.
Before we get too deep into the topic tonight, let's say hey to the side chat, and I think what we need to type is 7476. So type in 7476 and we'll call you out on the TV.
The Scotsman. What's that?
All right, so we got the Scottish American just doing what he does. CW, Viejo, trees are blowing. Ricky Barrett, hey man. Hasbro,
Hey, Ricky.
Reloader 762, Chris from the 740, Georgia Shooting Connection, Hillbilly Up, 6-Shooter Texan, Edward Petty, Tim S., Corners and Doors, Georgia Trapping and Fishing, GGW Outdoors, Duffer 426, Pat in a Bunker, what's going on, brother? Reloading from the Hot Pot. Let's do that. Ocean 374, James Pollard, Tactical Bud, Walks Fletcher, Pat in a Bunker, Paul Loud, Kyle, Andy 79Z28, Jason Stewart, Harm, Bearded Lunchbox, Lakeview Outdoors. Good to see you out there, brother. Dwayne 7834, Papa's Place, Bobby Barlow, Andre D'Angelo, David Walcott, Floridian Cranky, Cletus. What's going on, stranger? Glad you're here, and I think that's everybody. Hobbies Hobo. In Canada, that's 5233. Okay. Garage Guy 789, Glenn Davis. We got Kingpin out there, keeping us straight. Pat, I'm better than I deserve, brother. Daniel God is my judge. Guns and Cars 7476. That is the date of our nation's independence. Of course, it was 1776. So, yes, sir. There's Two Live Moo. Welcome in, buddy. And the thing, the first topic we want to talk about tonight, Chris, the Tennessee Pickers, was like, you got an S on the end of that, like there's two of you.
Yes. Yes, I actually have a co-host. His name is Dave. In our formal gun reviews, he's always in there with me. But most of the time, it's just me running around with my iPhone filming as much as I can get my hands on. That's what it usually is. Yep.
And to keep from going into too much detail, all we'll say is that you work in the industry,
Yes.
the firearms industry.
Yes.
And I think we can safely say that and not go any deeper than that. But you wanted to talk tonight about the shortages that are going on, and what is there a recession in the firearms industry?
Mm-hmm.
So
I thought maybe I could provoke some conversation with you guys. You know, you're looking for new topics and stuff. The ammo shortage is something that I lived and worked through every single day of the week from day one, when it started to where it's at right now. And I work at, I think I can safely say I work at a large retail distributor level is where I'm at. And I've worked in wholesale for this company, and I've worked now in retail, taking sales calls. So I talk to people every day in the gun industry, and just thought maybe I could bring some things to the table and see if everybody wanted to provoke a little conversation and a little new topic, you know, throw in what I can.
I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I'll throw the first punch here, Chris.
Yeah.
When I go to buy something, where it be ammo or a gun or whatever, I ain't feeling like there's no recession out there, because they jacking my wallet up pretty good, brother.
That's the truth. That's the truth. And really what I can touch on is why we're here at that point now, and what some of the outlying conditions that drove us all to these high prices and the lack of inventory and what have you. But just, you know, I'll start running my mouth whenever you want me to, man.
Shoot.
All right. So it happened the last week of February of 2020, the last weekend. And we left on Friday and closed the doors for the weekend. And Monday morning when we came in, there were 7 times thousands of orders that had ever been placed on a weekend. It was 7 times our highest weekend ever. And we came in, and they had to hunt the uppers of the company had to group up and try to figure out just how many weeks behind in shipping we instantly were before we even opened the lines for calls. Nobody knew exactly what had happened. Just the entire website had just exploded with ammunition orders, and just ungodly amounts of ammunition. We went through, say, 80,000 cases of 1,000 round cases of one particular brand stock number of 9mm alone in just weeks. I just ordered up. We had the stuff stacked to the ceiling, so we became an instant hit on the internet for places for one of the big places to go and buy your ammunition. And bots would run the sites, and all these different teams were set up eventually to watch us and monitor us, and then let everyone within their realms or their worlds know. And we would get just these massive calls from certain areas of Florida and Texas and different states where you'd have 15, 16 people ordering out of the same zip code, and they were all a certain, type of people. And it was very interesting how people worked in teams to find ammunition during the crisis times. But so by the end of, let's see, it started the last weekend of February. By the end of March, we were out of all of our 9mm. We were out of all of our 223 and 5.56, and we had tremendous amounts in the warehouse to go through during this time. Shortly thereafter, the 30-30, the 25-06s, the 6.5 Creedmoors, those began to pick up. And then by the end of May, the reloading began. And that's where I say, you guys that are reloaders, most of you out there are, you guys are the victims of the ammo shortage. And a lot of people say, well, loaded ammo doesn't have anything to do with me. Well, yeah, it does, because all the components got sucked into loading the ammo. The reloaders got left out of the components, and all the big companies shifted towards making loaded ammunition, whereas the components were runoffs of the systems. Before, go make so many million primers, we'll have so many million left over. It would just runoffs from what they made for loaded ammunition. They put everything into loaded ammunition, and everybody bought it up. I mean, it was just amazing. So it went from the ammunition to the rifle calibers to reloading equipment. It began with the dyes, the powders and the primers. They went first, and the dyes and the scales, and it got to the point where by the end of the summer, you couldn't even buy an electronic scale. You couldn't get a box of 30-30, and our phone lines were just wide open, just call back to back to back to back to back from the moment we opened in the morning to the moment we left late in the night. And it was really amazing. And we're still experiencing a lot of these shortages now, where I see we're down to bullets and powders, primers, brass being so hard to find. Ammunition is beginning to come around now. Now we'll have 3 or 4 kinds of 30-30, not just half 30-30. It's kind of getting to that rotation, if you will. So the manufacturers cut all the distributors off at about 3 years worth of orders.
Wow.
They told them, we can't take it anymore. We can't take it. And what happened was, you're talking about how the prices are now. What happened was, say with primers, the companies making the primers experienced shortages from their suppliers of chemicals to make the primers. And then the people that made the chemicals that went into those primers that shipped into CCI and those kind of facilitations, their suppliers became backed up too on raw minerals, and raw materials, and raw chemicals. And it began a surge backward, and everyone became caught up in we took 2 or 3 years worth of POs from our people, and we can't book any more business. We just can't do it. We're just going to sit here and we're going to work this bullet rotation, in between tool-ups to do this diameter and this caliber and this ammo and this. We're going to do this and this and this. And we're going to rotate it another year, and they make a production schedule. And so 257 Roberts for the long time. I mean, 280 Remington, 35 Remington, some of your old great classic calibers. There was just none to be had anywhere. Still aren't rather, because they're still rotating those popular calibers that were ordered 2 years ago through their systems. So the raw materials have gone up like crazy, which is run ammo process through the roof, reloading components through the roof, powders through the roof, major shortages of powders. And then there are, I don't really have anything to hide in saying so. I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything, but I can promise you that lots of efforts and concentrations of our major manufacturers that we've known and depended on for so long are going for military uses. They're producing things for military orders, and those orders come before ours do in the commercial sector, and they always will. And those have produced and continue to produce shortages, whereas we might be recovered by now. But those such orders are so large that concentration of making large rifle primers, large pistol primers, are made in number 41s instead, where they can reload 5.56 and these kind of things. And so you see a shift in the industry of what's being made and what's being made, who it's for, and then taking priority. And just this industry is dynamic like no other industry in the world. It really is. Yeah. But that's kind of go ahead.
I would say that's good to hear. That's something that we've all suspected all along, that the producers were producing for military and defense contracts, and that was partly why we were not seeing anything for the civilian market show up.
Yes.
So that's good to hear from your side of the spectrum.
And that information typically comes from our buyers and people who speak to those companies frequently throughout the week, very often. And so it's neat to be in position to hear things like that. You just got to be careful with how you let it get around. Right. You know what I mean? So.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Are you still having trouble? I mean, I can tell you from the phone calls I get every day of the week, there are plenty of people out there still looking for standard diameter components and just good everyday run of the mill brass calibers and things like that. I mean, are you guys finding things hard to come by?
Certain amount. And I'm over here on the coast of California, and in a relatively small town, a town of 100,000, only really have 2 viable gun shops here, and I see plenty of 9mm ammo, plenty of 45 ACP, some rifle calibers, a lot of the 20 round per box defense type ammo is sitting on the shelves, but it's so expensive nobody's buying it, and a lot of folks don't buy that in quantity anyway. But as far as the reloading components, not seeing a whole lot. I just noticed earlier this week, I guess it was, that one of the gun shops had Fiocchi small pistol primers. They're 1,500 primer box, but they're $100 a brick. Well, $100 1,000. They're like 150 for their 1,500. Still a dime a primer, which is at least 4 times what we were paying pre-pandemic. So
yes.
So some of that stuff is out there. I see Powder Valley having, various types of foreign primers from the Argentina ones and Fiocchi and some of those, but not a whole lot of U.S. based stuff. CCI, starting to see CCI primers come back. Some of the shops in neighboring towns have had some CCI primers. No large pistol primers. I don't know where those are going. It's hard for me to believe
they're not being made. They're just not
even being made. Okay.
They're not even being made, right?
So, we see little bits of powder leaking in, at $40 to $50 a pound, little bits, but it's not good. It's still not good. Those of us old guys, that have been doing this for a while, we've been through this before and knew to be stocked up. And so, I'm good for another 5 years, but if stuff doesn't happen within 5 years, I'm done for too.
Yeah. I'll tell you, the prices have gotten crazy, especially in your primers that were, I was selling $34 a 1,000 3 or 4 years ago. $89.99 is a fantastic on sale price now. For most of them, $99.99. What's happening there, to speak to what you were saying just a second ago, is Winchester has orders so large for military ammunition and the primers that need to be made for those that CCI and Federal have been enlisted to help take some of that off their shoulders.
That's interesting.
They're very interesting. So, I don't foresee that being top secret information, but it is information that is valid, and it's to help take the stress off. And so your large pistols and rifles don't get made a lot of times, and they come and they go. So right now we're in a drought of large anything, large rifle magnum, large rifle, large pistol magnum, any of your large primers are in a drought, and we probably had about 4 or 5 months ago, we had small quantities come in. This would be 4, 5, 6 months in between shipments. A lot of times for distributors, where Powder Valley, that's all they do. So
Right.
they turn a larger volume than others out there. So they get
Sure.
a little bit more up the food chain a little bit to get their shipments
Right,
fulfilled a little,
right.
so they're a good one to watch out for
And
Powder Valley.
I belong to a local gun club here, and we have our own private indoor pistol range as well as an outdoor trap and skeet range and archery and all that kind of stuff. So, and we get to the range and we talk, and I would say maybe only a third of us out there are reloaders, and so we talk about the prices. What are you doing? Are you not shooting as much? Are you not shooting at all?
Right.
And there's a whole gamut of what folks are doing. Some guys are just saying, what am I going to do? Not shoot? I got competition coming up. I got to reload. I need to make the ammo, so I got to pay the price. Other guys are saying, I'm just not shooting as much. I'm just hoarding my primers and powder. And when I was shooting 500 rounds, a week, I'm only shooting 100 rounds a week now and hoping I can stretch it out until this thing, straightens out. So I suspect that that's kind of a nationwide scenario, that there's folks are handling it differently. Some folks are sucking it up and paying the money.
Yeah,
folks are standing back.
A lot of the folks that I've talked to, there's one sect there of people that you didn't mention, and that are the folks that have enough money that don't really care what it costs. It doesn't matter that 45 long haul is $1.10 a round. They just give me a box or two of it, and the people that can afford it. A lot of people have had to step back. Even like myself, and how much ammo I was shooting on the regular. Or how much you're producing or making on your own, and what those components now cost is a big factor. But there are a large group of people out there that are in the gun industry. Specifically, this is an industry of a non-necessity. You don't have to have this to eat, in other words.
Right.
But a lot of people that are in the gun business can afford the increases that have come about and just don't bother with it. The people that order mail order, at least, let me say that,
What would you think that faction of the population is capable of supporting the industry by themselves? I mean, of those people that are just saying, I don't care what it costs, just give me the ammo. How big of a piece of the retail business is that really? Is it enough for like the smaller retailers to bring bacon home on, or is that really a small piece of the population that's doing that?
That's a good question. Really, I've never been posed that question before. If you think about it, to watch the recessions come and go throughout the gun industry, they'll have periods of crazy purchases. Like for a while, it was 22s. I think people stood in line for 22s out the door of Academy for so long. They went through that period. Then there was a recession in 22 ammo and other ammo as well. And we need the people who can afford all the changes, to keep as constant as a business is coming. A lot of people felt like the 10 million new gun owners that happened in the summer of 2020, and that's 10 million new gun owners in addition to the millions of guns that were already being purchased by people. Those guys really haven't made a dent in not where I'm from, not where at the distributor level I'm sitting at. Haven't seen really many of those guys. They're not out buying boxes of ammo. They bought a gun and they put it in the top drawer. That's
Let me stop you right here. We have a very important thing to take care of here on the panel, and we have a sighting, boys. Are we ready?
Count us down.
In 3, 2, 1. Hey! That's our brother Mario Mosine from right out here in California. Lives that away, 150 miles from me, and that's his mantra. He comes in and says, "Hey," and we say, "Hey," back. So we got to do it.
That's cool.
It's part of our gig, man. We're goofy. We're a goofy bunch, but we love you.
Very cool. Very
So,
cool.
I think one thing we need to remember is for the better part of the year of 2020, nobody was working except me. There were very few people that were actually working. I think I missed 3, maybe 4 weeks. I was back to work, and not that what I do is all that essential or anything, but when people are not working, then the raw materials are not being produced, and you you know a shortage drives up demand, and people are willing to no, I'll pay this for that brass, and no, I want that brass. That kind of thing's going on, but at the same time, now during the pandemic, uh, gas prices were dirt cheap. That's the lowest I've seen it in years and years because nobody was driving, you know.
Mhm.
And then after everything started back up, gas went whoosh because during the low demand they quit making it, and then all of a sudden there was a demand for it again.
Mhm.
So I don't care what commodity that you're discussing or talking about, but when the price of fuel goes up, everything's going to go up
That's right.
because
That's right.
you cannot sell something until you have it in your hand.
Hmm.
So,
Can I address something, Jamie?
yeah, man.
Um, Before the pandemic, 2010, somewhere near 12, it started here because the government couldn't tax the ammo high enough, so they started buying it all up. Places since we're home of Bass Pro and stuff. You could go to Bass Pro, get whatever you want whenever you wanted. Uh, they literally, there was people lining up with their friends to buy out everything that they could get. And so like at the time, Bass Pro's like when you get there, like people knew the truck come in on like say Mondays, Wednesdays, and Friday or whatever, Tuesdays, Thursdays. So there'd be people in line, and most of these people were reselling it. To be honest with you, and they're in line. You went in, you told like the guy inside the the cashier or whatever, he had a list of what the truck had on it. And as you bought stuff and paid for it, he checked it down. He gave you a receipt, and you went out in the parking lot and handed somebody out there, and they're handing it to you off the truck. The ammunition never even made it into the store, and that was way before the pandemic. That's where we started feeling it here. I assume everybody else did too. So I feel like that was a snowball that started a lot of it.
I've not seen that.
Really.
I've not. But
Yeah, we used to see that over the years. Chris was talking about the 22 when the 22 first happened. Man, I remember that. Literally, people were at the door 8 a.m. standing there for an hour waiting for the doors to open. To come in, rush back and grab as much 22 as they could, and then try to go outside, change their jacket so it didn't look like the same person. Come in with a different jacket on and go right back around and try again.
Yeah.
They'd have their cousin, their brother, the mother, everybody else with them they could get because they were limiting it to so many per person. And this was way before the pandemic.
The hoarding was so bad. What we went through there, taking the phone calls. I can't begin to tell you how many people that I spoke to regularly that would call and get ammo for resale, like you're saying, Hillbilly, and would beg to send me checks, guns, just to let them know when 9mm hit the door. Just to give them a text, from my desk. Call in the back number. Get your wife on the phone too, so we can get her the same limit and her name as well. It was crazy. You can't do that. It's unethical in your job. But they were for real, and there were people around the country that worked in distributors that did that made a lot of money from their customers on the phones. A lot of people. That's how crazy it got. Same in the retail stores. Pretty wild.
Yeah, Guns and Cars is out there talking about people paying $900, $1,200 for a Barry Bones Anderson. Man, it's funny. And this started before then too. This is back right around 2017, somewhere in there. Um, I saw prices from distributors going up on ARs beyond what I could build an AR for, or what you could buy a bare bones AR for
Yeah.
online completely. It was just the distributors' prices were just through the roof. And this is like 2017. It was nuts. And it's not gotten any better by any means.
They were the ones that drove the prices up.
Yep.
They're responsible for that, my friend, and I can promise you that.
Oh,
A
yeah.
buddy of mine has one of those $1,200 Andersons from back then, and he has it in a case hanging on the wall. He said, "This will be my most expensive, gun." He's like, "I'll never get my money back on it," So he just put it in a clear case and put it up on the wall.
Yeah.
Can I speak
Well,
to
M. Gabriel has a good question. What were shortages like before 2012?
Yeah, can I speak to that?
Yeah.
I was living out in Nevada at that time, and there were no shortages of anything. We'd go to the store, pick up bricks and bricks and bricks of 22, boxes and boxes and boxes of 9mm and 45, and a box of 109mm was like $8.
Mm-hmm.
550 box of 22 was $9.99. I still got plenty of them in the gun safe. I brought them back with me. There was no shortage. It was a friendly environment, and we'd go out in the desert and just shoot till we got tired of pulling the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it was before 2012.
Yes, sir.
I want to address something here. I work at a reloading supply. So I get some inside scoop on a lot of things, a lot of little things. Now, people keep asking about Magnum primers. Here's a fact about a Magnum primer. What they do is they produce so many primers and they go through a testing phase. The batches that have the least amount of failures are your Magnum primers. That's it. A Magnum primer and a standard primer are the same primer. The only difference is there's less failures in that batch. That's it.
So they're not hotter
No.
one than the
No,
other.
no,
I mean, that's
no,
what I've been
no.
taught for years and years and years and years and years.
A 41 primer only has a harder shell.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a small rifle primer.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And
They're making
actually,
a
me and
living.
Willie did a
It's marketing. That's all this is.
They're making a
That-
living. Yep.
Bench rest primers are tested in smaller batches. That's it. That's it. Primers are primers.
Wow.
Okay, small, large. The only difference in some of them are the hardness of the shell, the case.
Yeah,
You know what
me
I
and
mean.
Willie did a little couple videos back and forth. And this is before I shot my chrono. And I didn't see any difference between regular large pistol, Magnum large pistol velocities, or standard deviation or anything.
I've gotten better velocities out of standard primers over Magnums.
Right. That's kind of where me and him were. Like, hell, it's the same stuff.
So people get wrapped up in this, like, I need Magnum primers. No, you don't. You just need a large primer. Just buy the large primers. That's all you need. It's so funny to hear this and see this all the time.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty
crazy.
interesting. Pretty interesting.
Well,
what you're
and
saying.
one thing most people don't think about is if you look at Winchester primers, for example, Winchester says it right on the box: small, Magnum, or regular, large, or Magnum, regular.
Right.
Doesn't it tell you? It says it right there on the damn box.
I just see
Interesting.
that. I see this all the time, and I get the inside scoop on stuff. But as far as like prices of incoming things, me and my boss we've gotten kind of close, because we're only 4 of us that work in the place. So we talk pretty tight amongst ourselves. So he shows me, and I get to see exactly what primer costs are on the wholesale level. And he's buying $1 million to $10 million at a time, depending on the kind of deal he's getting. So I get to see what the actual cost is, what the actual markup is on the retail base from the wholesale buy. And it's really interesting that primer prices, people, are coming down here real shortly. He's gotten emails and phone calls, and primer prices are coming down. Powders are about leveled off right now. You're not going to see much better prices on powders, not for the moment.
They keep going up. Powder
Well,
went up last week.
Everything we're seeing is leveling off.
Mm-hmm.
It's leveling off nice, and it's projected to be about the same on the wholesale level for the way we're buying and who we're buying from.
Mm-hmm.
Let me talk about these comments. Hasbro said, with all due respect, that he has seen a difference, and this is what I'm referring to. What popped into my mind: Johnny's reloading bench was using small rifle primer 6.5 Creedmoor brass, and he was using these fine powders like the ball powders. He was having hang fires and failure to fires. And then he went to small rifle magnum primers, and they performed better with the same load. But when he went to a large rifle primer, done. Just a large rifle. Now, Hasbro helped me out there. In the large primers, the large rifle primers, he did he do a test of the Magnum against the regular? And let's address this, Duffer. These small powders are just harder to ignite. When you got a stick powder, they're coated with a substance that helps them ignite, and these small powders are sometimes hard to get to burn. And I think, yeah, if you're loading 44 mag and you're having hang fires and failure to fires with H110, try the same primer with 4227, and I don't think you'll have that problem.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's there you go. It's been a while since I watched that series. Okay, so the Magnum small rifle and the military small rifle never had hang fires, but I don't think all the others did. But I don't think any of them did with the large primers. And that, yeah, maybe that's telling us about a difference in the heat level generated by the primer. But I blame that as much on design. People that should know better making a cartridge with a small primer that needs to have a large primer.
Hey, Jamie.
Yes.
Not being a rifleman, do those two cartridges, one with the small and one with the large, is the flash hole also bigger diameter in the large primer size than the small?
I would assume, but we can check that out. I can go find some.
Most generally, it is.
Okay.
Most generally, the hole in the large primer is bigger.
And
I look,
to me, that would mean
I look in these things on a constant
all day
bid.
long. Yeah.
So
To me,
most
that
generally
would
they-
make at least a consideration as to the ignition of the powder with either primer. I mean, if you got a larger flash hole with a small primer, um, you should get a better performance of that flame through the flash hole
well,
if you got a larger hole in it. But specific,
A large
in
primer has a
particular with
larger flame
primer.
as well. There's a larger volume of fire in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
So
there's more material there to burn.
right, and that's where I was going with that. That would suggest as to being the underlying reason for the much better performance of a large rifle primer based cartridge compared to the same cartridge with a small primer.
Mhm.
What do you
If you
see,
look at
Jamie?
some of these primers in comparison too, you'll see the different
Mhm.
colors. So
Right.
they're different just by the definition of different.
Right.
Whether it's
Look
you know,
different. Sure.
they're different. Just that's the definition of different is different. They're not the same. So some will be pink and some will be red, different colors. Now Winchester is one that uses a lot of sealant in theirs, where other ones don't. And you saw that with the shotgun primers. Shotgun primers had some problems with some of the fine powders, so they went to a sealed primer instead of an open chip. An open
Right.
powder in there, an open
Right.
material in there, because they
Hasbro and Andy both had pretty good comments there too that are lending to the discussion. And personally, being more of a pistol arrow than a rifleman, I've been shooting small primer 45 ACP because ain't no large primers. And the first thing I did when I started doing that was go out and test, and you notice that the 45 ACP cases that are designed for large primers got a little bit bigger flash hole, and you can even, you can feel them when you're depriming and whatnot. And so
Just
I tested it.
decapping pins. Look at your decapping pins.
Exactly. And I could not discern a difference in muzzle velocity or print pattern, but you guys have seen me shoot, so you know what that part of it means. Nothing. But by chronoing, I saw no difference between the two, and so I was like, okay, I'm good to go. And I did the same test with Magnum versus small primers too. Yeah, not enough difference to make a difference, as Paul Harrell would say. So that's why I asked the questions about the rifles. I can kind of see when we were talking about that much more powder and that much bigger of a charge.
Yes.
That things like flash hole size and Magnum versus standard could make a significantly greater difference between the two.
Walter, I got primers from the shop, and I took standards, I took magnums, and I took the 41s, and I took them to the range, and I was going to do a video on the testing. I set my chrono up, loaded everything up, had everything ready, shot everything, and didn't see enough of a difference to finish the video. And the best velocity I had difference was using standard large pistol over Magnum.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking, and it was over 100. I think it was over 100 FPS.
That's significant.
That's significant. It's like, and then I talked to my boss about it, and he was like, well, this is how this works. I was like, oh, okay, I get it now.
I don't think y'all gonna be able to see a difference, but I have a 308 and a 223. Let's see if I can shine this light down in there. If it'll focus. It ain't gonna focus.
Jamie, do you have any
I can
spare
see it.
decapping pins handy?
Do what?
Spare decapping pins? Take a large one and see if it'll fit in a 223.
To look at them, there's not enough difference to
Yeah, it's
I
slight.
mean,
Yeah.
very
What's in
slight.
what's in your press right now? What dyes are in your press?
Um, I've been cleaning up. I don't have any in my press, but I have
I can
this.
run.
Don't you
I can
hate
run
when you
down.
need something you've already cleaned up and you can't find it? I was going to say just take the 223 if it was like you were loading for 44 special or something like that. Take the 223 case, flip it upside down, see if it'll go through the flash hole. You ain't got to stick it all the way in there.
This 223. This is the Lee Universal, so it's going to fit in all of them.
Yeah. Where's your 44 dies? Or are they not handy?
Right here next to my
Hasbro.
heart.
We're doing scientific experiments tonight, folks.
Well, I can sit here and tell you, based on just doing this right here, I can put this 308 die in until it bottoms out, and there's no movement. And I can take this 223 and I can stick it all the way in there till it bottoms out, and I get a little bit of a wiggle.
That's what I was thinking.
So to look at it, if you're just looking at it, it looks like the 308, the large primer hole would be just slightly bigger, but based on that test right there, and that's just a small sample size, it could just be that particular piece of brass I picked up. But I would say that the holes are the same size. I think Andy is right. Uh, the large primers have more compound in them. They burn longer, so therefore they ignite the powder better.
Isn't it interesting what all of this current environment has prompted us to reloaders to look at so closely things that we didn't even hardly think about 5 years ago. You didn't think about what the primers cost. You just went down to the store and bought some when you were low. You didn't think about the powder. You just went down and every powder you wanted was on the shelf. You didn't think about Magnum versus standard. You didn't think about small flash hole versus large flash hole. And now here we are focusing in tighter and tighter and tighter on our shooting and reloading practices because of this economic thing that's going on. Maybe it's a good thing for all of us to do. I don't know. But
I think it is, and it goes back to Jamie's 308 starting on his 308 series. You know, whether you're a new reloader or you're a seasoned reloader, always go back and start reading things, checking things, and understanding what's going on before you start your process. And never think you know everything, because you trust me, we're always learning, constantly learning.
you said it, brother.
Let me try it this way.
Oh yeah, that shows it up great. You can really see the difference.
Mhm.
Yeah, good job.
Thanks to Bama Dad. Yeah, so shining the light from that way, the 308 looked twice as big nearly, didn't it?
Oh yeah.
So there you have it. You saw it here first.
Who knew this was going to be Jamie the Science Guy night?
So the answer to this question is fresh because you're more likely to get some membrane and seeds in there, and that's where all the heat comes from.
We talk about that kind of thing a lot out here in California, but it ain't got nothing to do with cornbread.
Sorry, Hasbro.
Hasbro, have you not learned anything?
Yeah. Oh, good grief.
He's into self torture.
Okay, let me ask all the guys in the panel and on the side chat that do not reload. I want to know, and the world wants to know, inquiring minds want to know, do you shoot more, or have you noticed yourself shooting less because of the prices of ammo? And I think Chris, Tennessee Pickers, has already answered yes to that.
So since I'm not the only, I'm the only one on the panel that don't reload, most definitely. But it's made me a better shot too.
I'm with you on that, Hillbilly. I don't reload either.
Oh, you don't reload? Okay, awesome. Yeah. Something I want to do. Definitely going to get started on, for too long. But when I would used to go out and just fire off a bunch of rounds to be firing them off, I called it practicing, but let's all face it, it's just fun, And even sighting in a scope or the dot or anything, now I line bore it and I sight it in within 3 or 4 shots, instead of just firing 30 rounds, just adjusting it every shot or two. Yeah, I mean, I've noticed myself personally, not shooting as much. I mean, I still shoot. I mean, there's always hard seltzer that's got to be taken out. So, I mean, I gotta save ammo for that.
Yeah, but when it's costing you $1 every time you pull a trigger, when it was back to costing $0.25, you didn't think about it quite so hard. But now when it's costing you $1 for every trigger pull, that's significant. And for me, someone tells me, something's going to cost $1 million. I don't understand that. They tell me it costs $1.50 when it used to cost 50 cents. That I can understand, and that registers, and that's going to make a difference for a lot of folks. It's got to.
Yeah. It makes a difference in the choices of your next guns as well, because of the calibers. For me, I've thought, what other guns could I get in 9mm because it's the most reasonable caliber to shoot, and I probably wouldn't go above a 45 right now at this time. Rifles, 6.5 Creedmoor is still, $35 to $45 a box for the Hornady, stuff, and some of these calibers, man, it's just tremendous, So even down to AR platforms, I've thought about 9mm and staying within that realm, because of the pricing. But
that's a good point.
There's calibers out there I'd love to have, but I'm not paying that much for the ammo. I'm just not.
Still not a good excuse to have one in a 1911 though.
Yeah.
10mm.
Guess what? My sign language is going to be down here under the table. That guy over there doesn't like 9mm and thinks that a 9mm does not belong anywhere on the planet, let alone in
a single action or a 1911.
There you go.
Okay, so
well,
having shot my first 1911 and 9mm last weekend, I will tell you right now.
I got 2 of them.
While I kind of see where CW is coming from, and I see it where it's coming from. I've shot both 10mm and 9mm in a 1911 platform. You want to talk about smooth shooting and deadly accurate, and I mean deadly accurate. Yeah,
they make 20 rimfire conversions too. Those are deadly accurate, no recoil, and you can shoot them fast, and you can shoot them cheaper than 9mm.
Oh, sure. If you cast and reload, you can shoot for next to nothing other than the primers. I personally, love. We were talking about 9mm earlier, just before we got started, or not 9mm, but 1911s, and that 1911 platform, to me, is really hard to beat for a semi-auto platform, and it's like the Kawasaki of motorcycles. There's aftermarket parts, there's all kinds of stuff you can mess with them. They're stupid simple to take apart and put back together and clean and dink around with. It's just a great firearm, and I own a whole bunch of them. Well, as much as a retired school teacher can afford to own a whole bunch. It's probably like that many, you know. But
Yeah.
so and the 9mm is, to me, is fine to shoot at them. I shoot the 9mm out of the 1911 because of the platform, not necessarily because of the round. I like the 38 Super better, and I like the 45 Auto better, but I still like to shoot the 9mm. Little dinky small 125 grain bullets. You know,
As a reloader,
cheap to make.
there's really no difference in cost, negligible, because you're talking
Right.
about a couple of grains of powder. Primers are the
Right.
same, cases are the same, bullets are almost
Exactly.
the same. So as a reloader, 9mm is not cheaper. Appreciate it.
No. Well, brass, 38 Super brass, pretty hard to come by, at least for me.
I can see where, as a reloader, you wouldn't be so gung ho to load a bunch of 9s when there's other stuff out there you can run for the same amount of money. I'm sure you have to really be someone like me that has to look at it from a standpoint of capacity versus how much oomph I want behind a bullet, how much energy I want to have it go down the grass with. So I could definitely see that. It's an interesting point you bring up for 9mm. Now 10mm is one of my favorite calibers. And in the 1911 platform, you're talking about a frame angled in such a way that the gun points so great, like it's an extension of your own arm. A lot of people shoot naturally with those. You can put the rounded back strap in there. I'm sorry, do it into.
No, that's great. And with 9mm, even as a bullet caster and reloader, and most of the guys out here in the side chat know that I have pretty much free lead source at my gun club. I mine the berm out there. I get all the lead I want. And so a projectile cost me a penny, counting the electricity to melt it and a little bit of tin or something that I stick in there. But if 9mm ammo comes down to the neighborhood of $10 a box again for 50, it gets to be kind of a close call with, having to pay a dime for a primer these days, or whether I want to go through the time investment to recast and reload a 9mm round. It's getting down there pretty close.
Yeah, that was the argument before 2020. Who knows 9mm? You can buy it so cheap. Why load it?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well, I think for Christmas we should all get together and get CW 2011 and a 9mm caliber.
I got a whole bunch of round nose bullets I'll send him too. He hates those.
What is it with the 9mm? Is it just for pimps and wimps, or what's the dislike of 9mm?
I'm old school. I've been around a while, and 9mm wasn't anything special. It was always a sub caliber. It was always under powered. It was nothing special. You wanted a real caliber, you got a 357 or 45 or something more. It's just. I mean, it has a place. People love it. I really don't. It's not for me. I don't like them, but I don't hate it. It's an inanimate object. It's silly to hate such a thing, but I don't care for them. They have their place, and I just draw the line when they start throwing them dedicated in a 1911 or dedicated in a single action army. I mean, why? I can see a revolver with an extra cylinder 9mm because you have a 9mm and you're sure you want to shoot 9mm, but to make it only in that caliber is absurd to me. There's plenty of other places it can be. It doesn't need to be in a single action army or a 1911.
You guys are making me feel bad because I just bought a Mossberg 1911 9mm.
Well, and to his credit, CW is more of a hunter than he is a paper puncher, and I'm the quintessential paper puncher. When I was younger, if I didn't hunt, I didn't eat. That's how it was. And Mark, you get it as starting school teacher. I didn't have any money, and so if I wasn't out hunting, I wasn't eating any protein. But I don't do that anymore. I became citified, moved into town, and I'm not hunting anymore. I go out and target shoot twice a week, and if the round punches a hole in the paper where I want it to punch the hole in the paper, I'm happy, and I don't care if it's a fat meat platter or a round nose. If it gets the job done, that's the job I want it to do. So I don't care. Beyond that guy over there is a different story, and it brings up this old conversation that however many people are in here in this panel and are over there on the side chat, that's how many different reasons there are to go shooting. Everybody's got a different idea on what it is they want to go shoot for, and
That's right.
and the kind of the sense of accomplishment, the sense of good feeling, all that kind of stuff that shooting and reloading brings us. Everybody's got their own idea of that. And we have learned to, at least in this group, all of these guys here that I know, we all kind of live with the idea that everybody's got a different program going. And mine's different from CW's and different from Jamie's and different from Mark's and different from the Hillbillies and the Scotsman and Gene, and Kyle. We all shoot for different reasons. There's some commonalities, but we're all got our little bit different ideas on how we want to get it done.
That's the beauty of it is everyone, you're saying everyone has different ideas, and they do. Some guys will buy 1911 9mm. Some guys won't. Some guys are old school like that.
Mm-hmm.
It only comes in a 45, boys. Sorry. You got guys over here that'll buy a 10mm. It's all going towards keeping the gun industry alive. People will buy different guns than other people will, different ammos and different thoughts, train of thoughts, and reload different calibers. It's all towards keeping the gun industry alive. And I certainly, I talk to all you guys every day of the week, at work. And it's just, I appreciate you guys so much and all the different opinions that you have and the different ways you spend your money, because it's somebody out there is keeping their job because of that. Not only are we having fun with it, but we're keeping people afloat in their daily lives. There's a whole industry out there. It's pretty cool.
Gentlemen, let me interject for just a second. Can we have a moment of silence for the frogs?
Is that what it is? I'd blame it on that if it was me too, Kyle.
I told you they were back. Okay, I'm done.
All right.
Okay, so what I want when I shoot is I want a complete pass through and good blood trails. That's what I want. Or better yet, a DRT.
Well, if it makes you feel better, CW, I'm not building a 9mm 1911. Just so you know.
Good.
I'm
Yep,
building
good.
a 10mm.
10mm is fine. 10mm is one. It hasn't been around that long. It was released in the mid '80s, early '80s. It hasn't been around that long, and it was released in a 1911 style gun. It was released in the Delta Elite. So before that there was the Don Johnson gun there, but you didn't see many of those, and they were short-lived and they were expensive. But so the 1911, the Delta Elite is what drove it in the beginning. So
What is
I have no
1
problem with
millimeter
it.
amongst friends?
And the 1911 was originally chambered with the 38 Super. So there's another caliber that's perfectly fine. I'm a 40 guy. I love the 40 caliber, but I don't want to see a 40 in 1911 either, or a 57 SIG. They're okay. I like the calibers, but they don't need to be in a 1911. They've got their own guns to be in.
Right. And I've shot a 40 in a 1911 or 2011, and I'll tell you, man, that thing malfunctioned more than I've ever seen in my life. Horrible. Absolutely horrible.
It's a shorter cartridge, so but the 9 is too. I mean, its overall length's about the same as the 9. So
Y'all say hello to Ron Wayne out there in the side chat.
Hey, Ron Wayne.
We got
good evening,
three
man.
Howdy, Ron.
Paul Loud's out there.
Ron Wayne.
I heard that.
Hasbro has a good point about 10mm. See that? That caliber is awesome, guys. I have shot double planed bulletproof Lexan with 10mm, and it goes through both planes as if it were a stick of butter. Just leaves a perfect hole puncher hole in it. And I've spoken to so many Alaskans that carry Glock 20s as their sidearms who have shot bears, charging bears with 10mm rounds, and they come out the back end when shot through the front.
Well,
And,
the old standby was 40 or 10mm, 200 and 1,000. So you need to be at least 40 caliber, at least 1,000 feet per second, and 200 grains of weight.
Yeah.
At least 1,000 feet per second. So that was the standard for a defensive caliber. And that's pretty much where I drew the line. So 10mm makes it, 45 almost makes it. A lot of the 37, 44, they're almost there.
it's about right.
It's a lot of states called that for hunting calibers, for hunting handguns. They needed to be there.
A 45 ACP with a 230 grain round nose ball ammo round, that's like getting shot with a lug nut. I mean, you're gonna know it. Had a guy the other day ask me how much box of 9mm ammo was. I said, I don't know. I ain't bought one in about 8 years.
Yeah, the adage about the 45 being heavy and slow, well, it got the job done. Mr. Pollard says 200 grain 45 hollow pointer to get it done.
Yep. And they come out with a lever action 9mm this year, or early last year, late last year.
Have you guys like shot the
Now,
45?
hold on, CW. A 9mm lever action does not need to exist.
Like I'm saying,
Not now. No. You put 9mm in a lever action rifle.
and they take Glock mags.
That
I was
That
gonna
is
say,
stupid.
I was
That
gonna
is-
say, I seen one the other day, and I kid you not, it takes Glock mags, and the thing looks like a freaking monstrosity.
I think there's 2 of them. Isn't there 2 manufacturers offering them?
There is, but
I think
this
there
one
is.
I saw, I swear, man, it's just like
You-
what?
you may
Not
see a
even
lot
I
of-
would stoop that low.
you may see a lot of me show a lot of weird stuff on my channel, but never will I ever have a 9mm lever gun on my channel.
I'll tell you. I'll put it this way: you'll see a high point here before you see a 9mm lever gun.
I agree with Walter.
I've got high point videos, and I'm not doing a lever gun in 9mm on it.
I'm going to call High Point, see if they'll make me a 9mm lever gun.
Exactly.
Hillbilly would
mags.
do it. If you give him one, he'll promote it, man.
Dang right, I
Take-
will.
Got to take Glock mags.
Hillbilly, I can just drive down the high point and talk to him for you, man.
Yeah, we can just drive there, hillbilly. We don't need to call them.
I know.
We can go knock on the door.
If I lived up that way, I'd be knocking on their. I'd be eating breakfast on the front porch there. So, what do you got for me today?
A
I think my
swimming
buddy
pool.
New Texarkana is confusing 45 ACP with 45 Colt, but yeah, I get it.
I have. I'm not really doing video on it, but since I got my 10mm pistol, I shot on my own range here, 45 ACP and 10mm. I can tell the difference in the, the destruction that it does.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
There's a huge difference, for sure.
Yeah.
Now the Lexan we shot that was bulletproof stopped 45 and stopped at 44, and it was rated for 44s. You have a larger diameter there, so there's a bigger surface area that hits the material, and it puts a stop to it. With that 10mm, there's something about that 400 diameter, man. It'll go through things. It really will. That's a hell of a caliber.
Yeah, if you ever watch anything with the big calibers, 400 is a magic number. 416.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all tell Andy good night. Good night,
Side was
Andy.
45s.
Sleep well, buddy.
Not Andy.
Good night, Andy.
Good night, Andy.
CW, you cut out there for a minute.
Yeah, I was just saying that the 400s, the 416s, 400s are they're awesome penetrators. Side by
They
side
are.
with the 45s and the other calibers out there, the 50s and such, they out penetrate them. The 375, they penetrate like nobody's business.
They really do. The sweet spot of diameters, almost.
Yeah, it's almost like the 6.5 is for ballistics and long range in the air. And
I was just gonna say that. I was just gonna say
400
that.
is the same way with penetration.
Something about that 264 diameter is just magical. It flies straight, goes a long way, and still delivers energy 400 so yards to take an elk with a good shot. It's pretty funny. It's pretty wild. Oh yeah.
I'm a big time 6.5 Creedmoor fan, but I'm not shooting any animals with it. I ain't. I have a 270 Winchester for that, or a 30-06 for that. I just
Hmm.
CW. I think something you and I might both find interesting is this uh, 400 Legend. Have you looked into that?
I'll have one. I'm waiting for a barrel to come out. I've got a complete upper just sitting on the shelf looking for a caliber. I was going to do a 300 hammer. I was going to do a couple different calibers and never did it. So it's just sitting there waiting for a barrel. So as soon as I find a 400 barrel, I'm going to do one. I've got a bolt. I got everything I need.
So Hobby's Hobo was thinking the same thing as me, I guess. Maybe not. Looks like it.
The
Anyway,
good thing about
yeah.
a 50 caliber Smith and Wesson handgun is if you don't kill the bear, you'll at least knock it back 20 feet and you can get away from it.
Yeah. 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 I shot a
There's
460. That was enough for me.
There's Miss
460s
Kitty.
are stout. They're stout.
Yes. Yes.
I think so.
They're worse than the 500s for recoil. I'll shoot a 500 before I'll shoot a 460.
I shot one that was. Sorry,
I
go
shot
ahead.
460 once. Wow.
Yeah.
500.
They really
got
are.
nothing on a 460.
Yeah, they really are.
I shot a
buddy's
12-inch
got
model.
one, and
Go ahead.
everybody that shot it had expletives coming out of their mouth after they pulled the trigger.
Yeah. The worst recoil and handgun I ever shot was a 12-inch 4570 shooting 400 grain bullets at about 1900 feet per second. And that was just incredible.
What a hoss.
It twisted in your hand with the recoil, and it just hurt. Everything in your arm hurt.
That ain't fun. Okay, guys, we've still got good viewers going on here, and we're getting down to 9:34. I think 9:30. We're gonna have to be going through the room and doing what we do to say goodnight here in about 15 minutes. But before we go and get ready to go, I want to talk about what the true meaning of July the 4th is, Independence Day. So I've got a little something queued up that we'll leave y'all with tonight. But I think, like most of our summer holidays anyway, well, we'll go further than that. Most all of our holidays, we tend to lose the true meaning of what we're commemorating and start looking at what can we put on the grill and who we're going to gather around with and all that kind of stuff. And we got to remember that it's our nation's birthday, and that people died and put their lives and their fortunes and everything on the line for the independence from an oppressive, tyrannical government. And it's not the first time, won't be the last. But I think we need to. Focus on what our holidays really mean. And so let's go through the room and talk about what your greatest memories from 4th of July may be. I mean, as a kid, we and that's going to be different for all of us. But one of the things I looked forward to was going to the fireworks show and watching the fireworks that night. And so that's where we're at. And yeah, and while we're on that subject, let freedom ring July 4th at 5 o'clock p.m. 1700
Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah,
Eastern.
and I'll start off, man, because it's exactly that day right there, dude. So for me, I've been here now, dang, a long time. Um, but it's only been the last few years that I actually became a citizen. And the great one, my first 4th of July as a citizen, I spent it with Daniel, and we were hanging out and shooting and getting our Let Freedom Ring videos done. And that was pretty freaking awesome.
Pretty cool, man. I know. So we got 6-shooter Texan gonna make his video tomorrow, and using 1911 and 45 ACP. But yeah, the 4th of July was always a big time for us as kids. I had 3 younger sisters, and it was pretty cool to go watch the fireworks show. And of course, we're out of school in the summer, so there's that. Any particular memories that stand out for any of you guys? Go, Mark.
I grew up out there in the middle of nowhere in western Pennsylvania, and going somewhere to see fireworks was probably pretty much out of the question. But I have an uncle that was, well, let's just say he didn't mind defying any kind of laws he didn't agree with. And we always had a huge stockpile of fireworks that, well, probably didn't belong where we had them. And we would put on a show out there in the middle of damn nowhere that would rival anything in a pretty good sized city. And I can remember my cousins duct taping quarter sticks of dynamite to arrows and shooting them up in the air, blowing them up. Quarter sticks of dynamite being thrown into a old cast iron bathtub that was full of water, and that damn thing blew 15 feet up into the air and blew the bottom out of it. We shot bottle rockets at each other for hours just for fun. And, it was a big 60-person family picnic. It was just a hell of a good day. And I have good, fond memories of those.
Very good. Kyle, you want to go next? Then we'll get to Walter.
Yeah, I remember when I was a child. Well, not a child, but extremely younger than I am now. We took a family vacation to Boston on the 4th of July. And I got to see the Boston Pops perform, which was amazing. And then it was the finest fireworks show I've ever seen in my life. Everything was timed perfect. Da 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 da. That's one of the fondest memories of 4th of July for me, anyway. But every one of them since has been pretty good. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, cool. Let Walter.
Okay, just a couple of quick things here. I'll mirror what some of the other folks have said and are going to say. When I was a kid, we lived part of the time in town and part of the time out in the country. And when we were in town, we had lots of neighbors and that was back in the 50s when I was a kid. And the moms were all home and no one was, the moms weren't out working. So we had a pretty tight-knit little community in the, I'll say 3 or 4 block radius of where we lived in our little residential area. So everybody knew each other. And come 4th of July, everybody in that vicinity was there. We would block off one of the streets and have a kind of a block party. And so it was a big celebration. Everybody brought their own fireworks. We lit them all off and all that kind of stuff. but it was about coming together. That's what the 4th of July was about. About the country, which when you're a kid and you're 9 years old or something, you're 2 or 3 block radius. That's your whole world. So it was kind of like the whole world is coming together, and we're going to celebrate this thing called the 4th of July. And maybe you didn't quite get it about what 4th of July really was when you were a kid, but a big piece of it was the togetherness of the community, which again, to a kid, to me anyway, it was like my whole world was right there in that little teacup of a community. Now, celebrating the 4th of July to me means celebrating the foundation upon which this great country was built. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking way back to 1776, and I'm thinking, what were those people? What got into them to get up the gumption to vamoose out of Europe, with the transportation system that existed in those days, and to put everything literally that their whole life accumulation, put it on a ship and come over here. What did that take? It took a lot more than it would take today to make the same move, I'll tell you that. So that's part of what I think about when I celebrate the 4th of July is the foundation the country was built upon, and those folks that laid those first bricks. What an inspiration, what an awesome achievement those guys pulled off, to get this place started like that. So that's what it is for me. I'm done.
Very good, man.
I'm gonna jump in there. Mine's a little bit offbeat, I guess. I'll let you be the judge of this. But my fondest memories are of the spirit of 1776 in 1976 when I was 9 years old, and the whole year was a big to-do. 4th of July was fantastic. I mean, there was the best fireworks, the best time. You've seen the most red, white, and blue. You've seen the most camaraderie between Americans. But I was associated with truck stops at this time. So seeing all the trucks come in painted with, anniversary and 200 years, 1976, just all the cars and the trucks just painted up, and just the whole country was Americanized. Everybody was together at that time. Everybody was celebrating this. I said, maybe a little offbeat, but that's my best memories was 1976. That's the most I've ever seen the country come together.
Yeah, I remember that. 1976, I would have been 14 years old.
Yeah.
I was going to say I wasn't quite 12, and that's my biggest memory, or my first big memory of 4th of July. I remember going to the center of town and seeing a guy there with a big top hat, red, white, and blue, and big bell-bottom pants, red, white, and blue jeans, walking down the road. And I don't even remember what he had on for a shirt, but I remember that big giant hat. He kind of looked like the 76 dude there in the cartoon, stepping out or stepping off, stepping forward. I forget what the cartoon was, but yeah, that great big hat and those red, white, and blue jeans with the big giant bell bottoms and black hats and lady fingers, fireworks, and that's what I remember. And before that, as far as the country coming together was 9/11. That was the biggest I saw the country coming together. That was a time we need to get back to as far as a country.
Yeah, 9/11 was huge, man.
Yeah.
I remember getting back home from college and seeing it on TV and seeing everyone coming together and seeing what happened the next few weeks after that. And it was an inspiration for sure.
Yeah, it was. Hillbilly, you got anything? And we'll start going through the room.
I always got something. America, baby. I always got something to say about America. Love it.
Man, the 1976. It was such a big deal for me, and like in our little town, we had parades and we had everything. I mean, it was just something else. Hang on a second. Will you shut up? I'm trying to talk to you. Anyway, you get all excited about it when we talk about America. But anyway, it's just we had like it wasn't like we didn't have a carnival or nothing, but we had a parade. We had like the parents or different people, they'd set up little game booth deals like a carnival would be and stuff. We just had a blast. The American flag. I mean, I chose to name my channel. My deal is American Hillbilly, and because it just always meant so much to me, about the flag, what it stood for, our independence. I mean, it's just something that I celebrate a lot. I love to celebrate it, and it all goes back to childhood of, like everybody's saying here, big family get-togethers, bottle rocket, Roman candle fights. Sometimes we'd have it down on the creek, and so, like me being on Missouri and Arkansas, we're close to the line, so we come down the creek on the Missouri side, people be on the Arkansas side, be camping out. We might do like a little float trip or something. And so everybody just shot fireworks at each other in friendly format. It's just, we just had a blast, it was always just a big deal. And, the American flag, I mean, it just, every year, we decorate up the golf cart, the, whatever with, flags and everything. The four-wheelers, I mean, we just really get into it, and I'm just so happy. It's a blast. I hope everybody enjoys it as much as I do.
Well, I want us to go through the room and plug up what we got coming up this week, and I'm gonna, as we go off the air, I'm gonna play something, and that's what we'll do. What you got coming up, Walter?
I got several videos in the can ready to go. Got some reloading videos that'll put out this weekend, and I got another Moldy Monday coming out Monday. I've got a little special 4th of July for Tuesday. Got a new firearm coming in Wednesday, and I'll probably do an unboxing of that one, and put that in conjunction with the Lakeview Outdoors first gun thing. And then let's see what else. That's about all I've got coming up. That's enough. Keeping me busy for an old guy. But anyway, that's what's going on in Viejoville. I thank you one and all for being here tonight, and appreciate the privilege of being able to take part in this panel. It's been a great discussion tonight with Chris, and it was just really, really worthwhile for me. I enjoyed the heck out of all of it. So hope everybody else did as well.
There I am. Okay. Thank you for saying that, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah, you're fine. We'll have you back. Okay, Mark Thomas, what you got coming up this week?
Well, I think we're going to try to do our Let Freedom Ring video on maybe Monday. We'll be able to get down to the range. Well, maybe even Tuesday morning. We'll see what happens. And I had a lot of fun doing it last year with some black powder stuff, and I think I'm going to bring some of that back this year. I have that tactical percussion rifle that I built for my son, and we still haven't shot it yet, so I think this is a perfect opportunity. And I just pulled a Sabo out of the barrel of a flintlock that I bought a couple weeks ago. I paid $25 for it, and I couldn't lose. I finally got that damn Sabo out of there this afternoon, and the barrel's not good, but it's clean enough. We're going to shoot that. That's a nice flintlock, and we'll probably take some other things up there, maybe that new dagger and the new 44. Just let freedom ring. So that's what we'll be doing this week, and what we'll be putting up on the channel. Happy 4th of July, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, man.
Thank
We
you,
appreciate
brother.
it.
Thanks for having me.
I skipped Scotsman. Go for it, Weasel.
That's all right, man. I'm whenever. No big deal. Mark, 44. Heck yes, absolutely. Got to. 44 screams America right there. No, I appreciate being here. Great being here. Always good to be here on Friday night. And guys, I'm looking forward to Sunday. And I'm looking forward to Sunday because Lakeview Outdoors will be with us on the show. So please jump over and support us and come hang out and see what Lakeview's got to say. I know he is very appreciative of what's happened so far, as am I. And going to be an awesome chat. So looking forward to that. I do have a couple videos coming out. I got my first gun video coming out for Lakeview via Jamie. I got to redo it again because I screwed up and said the wrong name in the damn video when I was doing it. You know how it goes. You hit record, you start doing, and always something. So I'll re-record that, but we'll get that done. And then I also have the update coming up as well. And then on the other channel, the Weasel channel, you will see all the hats of Mr. Holster that I have, that I was blessed to pick up from Mrs. Holster. So that video is going to be coming out this weekend too. That's pretty much all I got, man. And I hope to get out and go shooting here with Daniel in the next couple of days and get my Let Freedom Ring video done. And there will be some 44 Magnum, my friend.
Very good. Thanks for being here. And hopefully I'll get to see you on Sunday. Help Billy up. What's going on, brother?
Brother, I got it all going on. I've been planning this video for weeks. And if I live through it, it's going to be a good video. And I don't catch a bunch of stuff on fire. Hopefully it's going to be a good video. So
Police
that's all
get
I'm
called.
gonna tell you.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
looking forward
my
to it.
pool's empty. I can't run and jump in my pool now. I probably should have
Right.
waited until after that to drain my pool.
Right. Right.
But anyway, I appreciate y'all having me on here. It's a fun night. I always love Friday nights. It's so fun. Great side chat. Good visiting with you, Chris. Nice to finally get to visit with you. I appreciate that. And looking forward to more of it, brother.
Yes, sir.
So, Gun Spear and Therapy, Saturday night at 10
yeah.
o'clock Eastern.
You betcha. Thank you for that. I forgot all about that almost. So
Yeah.
thanks a lot, Jamie.
You're
That's tomorrow
welcome, bro. Chris, the Tennessee Pickers, thanks for your insight on the shortages and how much we're paying.
Shoot, we're just making conversation. I'm honored to be here. Honored to be here with all you guys. And I don't know if Chris from the 740 is still out there, but you know, I wanted to shout out to him and just thank him because he's introduced me to everybody. And you know, it met him and then met you guys, and it's just really been cool. You guys are a great group of people, and I'm real honored to be amongst you tonight. I really am. It's a good time. A lot of fun.
Glad to meet you, man.
Likewise. Very cool. Now, let me ask you a question. I've only been doing YouTube now for about a little over 2 years. And up until this point, I have been very unable to go and look at other people's channels. I've spent a lot of my time watching vidIQ and TubeBuddy coaching strategies and things like that, just trying to figure out SEO and all these kind of other things. But what I'm saying is I haven't really had time to be in the community with other gun tubers or YouTubers and creators and see a lot of your stuff until recently. I've been starting to go through and watch, and I really enjoy what I'm seeing on your channels. And some of you guys are super, super innovative. Some of y'all are hilarious. I mean, there's just everything. It's a big mixing pot of everything. I really enjoy checking you guys out, and I've appreciated all the support that you guys have given me too. And when I was a guest on Chris's show the other day, hey Chris, you're still there? I see. There were about 25 people that subscribed to me that night, and it's just a big blessing and a big help. You know, I think we should all support each other, watch each other's stuff to the end, as much watch time as possible, you know, and look out for each other and do collections and things of this nature, and build a community and the camaraderie here of gun video creators, if you will. But shoot, I'm honored to be here, guys. You guys are fabulous. Yeah, Billy. I tell these boys I subscribed to you the first night I run across one of your shorts, boy.
Hasbro's out there telling on me that my Bud Light video.
Yep. Good videos.
Well, thank you, buddy. I like to have fun.
That's right, Hasbro. That's right. Absolutely right. I like Bud Light. You know, I drink Bud Light forever. Never. Hell, I've been I sang in party bands for over 20 years in Chattanooga, and had some of the most popular bands over the years. And Bud Light was a big portion of our. We worked with the distributorship there, and you know they gave us cases of beer to take to our shows, and we were proud of it. Drank it on the way that night and afterwards on the way home.
See, I had subscribed to you. Now I'm gonna have to unsubscribe. Damn, man. I can't do a lap beer.
I wasn't saying I've been drinking it here lately, but I did for a lot of years. I kept them and Jägermeister in business, as far as I know. Paid a portion of their electric bills every month, but it's good times, real good times.
Well,
But I appreciate being here, guys. Thanks for having me. I'd love to come anytime that you want me to jump on here. I would love to. I just love chatting and running my mouth. So,
Well, this is called the Georgia Shooting Connection, and you kind of live in Georgia, don't you?
I do in South Georgia, and it's hot down here tbe
It is.
It's a
He's
mess.
below the night line, y'all. So we appreciate you being here. We'll be. I got to catch up on your videos. Who's next up there?
Gene, I think.
Gene?
Yeah.
Who the
I
hell's
hear
that
we
guy?
got
The guy with all the smoke.
15?
I hear we got some Smith and Wesson videos I need to watch.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man. Been a great chat tonight. Chris, nice seeing you again.
You too, my friend.
Man, everybody, this is a good tribe, man. I love my family. Also call you my tribe, you know, because tribes stick together. They help each other out when in time of need. And we do everything we can for all of our family tribe members. That's just the way we roll. Let's see, what have I got coming up? Oh, I got something new and heavy and metal and hammer fired coming up next week. It's going to be good.
Very cool. Very cool.
It's going to be good. Going to be good. I want to wish everyone a very, very happy 4th of July weekend. Be safe with yourselves. Have fun. Just have a good time, man. Go have a cookout with your friends and family, and you know, rejoice in the independence that we still have.
Watch out, Kyle and Walter. He's fixing to blow that smoke.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate you being here, Gene. You got to say it, man.
Always remember to keep blowing the smoke.
Live, laugh, love, and reload.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Darn it! Darn it! Oh, always remember to live, love, laugh, and reload. And if all else fails, aim, load, and fire.
There you go. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for being here. Who's next? Kyle?
I can do that. I want to wish everybody a very happy 4th of July, even though it happens on a Tuesday. I'm probably going to make my first gun video for Lakeview tomorrow. Depends on what time the AC guys get done. It shouldn't take them long because they do it for a living and they're good at it. I want to thank everybody in the side chat. And Chris, it was great to finally meet you. I just realized, Hillbilly and Mark, I was unsubscribed to your channels again.
That happens, brother.
YouTube's playing their games.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, I'll get you here in a minute. That's what I was in. I was in the background just typing, clicking, and all that stuff. But I just want to thank everybody on the panel for being here, and thank everybody in the side chat for being here. And like Chris said, everybody stay safe, and or maybe Gene said that. Yeah, Gene said that. Stay safe. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Keep your head on a swivel. And
Right.
Thanks for being here, Kyle. I appreciate you, brother, more than you'll ever know. CW, does that just leave me and you?
It's just us.
Go for it, bro.
I'll just like everybody said, I'm appreciable to be here. It's always a good time. Good to meet Chris. We had a real good chat tonight. Everybody had a lot of great content. An honor, man. It's an honor. And the side chat, as always, we had some big numbers. I saw some upper 50s. I don't know if it hit 60, but we had some big numbers, and that was really good to see. I'm sorry. I'm sure I missed a lot of comments. It gets going busy, and it's really hard to track that and pay attention to what we're talking about. So I apologize for all that. I've got a video coming out, posted this afternoon. It'll be posting 5 o'clock on the 4th, so you all can check that out. And I don't know if I'll have any more, but we'll see. Hope everyone has a safe holiday. Remember Lakeview, keep them in your thoughts and prayers. And tune in Sunday night to the Scotsman there, and we'll hear all about everything he wants to tell us about the situation. So it's going to be a heartfelt one for Scotsman. He's more, you don't see many of these shows, so it's one to tune in for. And again, everybody be safe. Have a great weekend. Great holiday. Remember what it's for. And I'll turn it over to Jamie.
Thanks for being here, brother. Appreciate you. And more than
Thank
you
you.
know, want to thank the panel. Want to thank the side chat. As far as numbers, we had 62 at one point. Y'all know what to do. Y'all know who's on when better than I did. I'm not going to start down that road tonight. I'm going to leave you with something special. We're going to hope that the Lord blesses you all real good. And until next Friday night, if he's willing, we'll see y'all back then. And God bless you. Happy Independence Day, folks.
God bless everyone.
Good night, folks. Thanks for playing along.
We're leaving tonight. Hope
America,
y'all
baby.
like it.
No, it'll do